Welcome to the Jockey Club, a podcast looking at the movie Let It Ride, one scene at a time. My name is Dan Delgado, and we're at historic Hialeah Park where one man is having the best day of his life.
I'm having a good day.
So come on in and hang out while we talk about this day and the greatest movie of all time, Let It Ride. Don't worry about that guy at the door. I've got you covered. You can even
take my seat to the Jockey Club.
Welcome back to the Jockey Club. We are up to episode 9, which means, of course, we are doing the 9th scene of Let It Ride. And really, it's the 9th scene of Let It Ride, according to me. We are combining 2 quick scenes for this episode. So this is the scene where Trotter collects his winnings from the first race and heads into the bathroom to hide the money in his shoes. Back with me to discuss this scene is Eric Delgado, my former radio co-host, gambler, and the person I saw Let It Ride with all the way back in 1989. And if you are playing along at home, this is from minute 25:26 to minute 27:25. So now let's head on up to my usual table at the Jockey Club to discuss directing commercials, Hardcastle and McCormick, and the 9th scene of Let It Ride. Let's get into this. So this is where So we're talking about Trotter now victorious with his 710 and heading down to collect from the ticket seller who at this point still not on his side, right? Not happy to see him.
Right, and it's like first thing is you'd have to think at a track this busy for him to even be that memorable. I guess the cheeseburger incident makes him a little more memorable. But I'm sure that the ticket seller has poo-pooed more than enough guys to tell. I mean, he tells them the whole, this is the $50 window.
That's correct. I think Trotter has enough of a reputation that the ticket seller just doesn't like him as this movie begins.
Right.
I mean, we've already heard the story about how he had rat-holed the 5 and he had to drop his pants at the ticket window to get it.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think we've heard it yet. I think it comes up after this.
Oh, you're right. It's in the next scene. It's in the next scene.
But be that as it doesn't matter because it still means it's already happened to them, even though we haven't heard it yet.
Correct.
It has happened. It's in his past. Yes. Right. You're right. Yes. And so being that he's, looks to be in his 40s, he's probably been doing this 20 years. He's probably got, you're right, he's probably built up enough of a reputation. It seems like when he says that, he's just making like an instant judgment based on how he looks or something like that. Like almost like, I don't know you, sir, but you're obviously in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. But more likely, you're right, is that he's just being that much of a smartass because he does know there's no way you'll ever be here because you need $50. So that being the case, he's got enough reason to look down upon him. And so when he arrives, it's when I judge the ticket seller the worst right here.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
okay.
Jay's not smug until he says you got the long shot. Then all of a sudden, like the way he says it, it's like Jay responds with like the attitude of like, that's right, up your ass.
Now, as we're counting out our $710,
yeah,
Trotter is going to mentally spend the money. What am I going to do with this money? So here's the list. Are you ready? Ready
yes.
for the roll call?
Sure.
Down payment on a new fridge.
Down payment,
not a new fridge. Down
right.
payment on a new fridge. I do not know the 1989 cost of a new refrigerator, but
right, but it's $100 down payment,
probably.
Yeah, I know because he counts it out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He's going 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, and then he says down payment on a new fridge.
Yep.
These are the days of financing your fridge at like the local fridge lot. I don't. I picture this doesn't seem like you're doing this at like Best Buy.
To me, Trotter and a lot of the people that you find at the bar, like that crew, they seem like they could be in the rent-to-own category of buying their appliances and furniture, right? Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to rent a center to get that new fridge.
That's a good one. Right. So maybe there, everybody knows, right, $100 gets you in the door with a new fridge. So now we also know that the fridge must be on the fritz.
Yes, yeah, that's true. There's a problem with the refrigerator at the Trotter home. Okay. So next we have rent, which that's solid, right? Rent.
Right, and it's only towards the rent.
Oh, that's, you know what? Fair
That's
point.
what he says. Yeah. Towards the rent. Right. So, which is also funny to me because I don't know where the rest of the rent is coming from. He's only dedicating $100.
Well, this also could be back rent, if you think about it, towards the rent. Right?
Right.
Who's to say that Trotter is current in his job of driving a cab?
Absolutely. Right. And we also know that he's living in a motel.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So he's balancing two locations.
So we could kind of go towards which rent, perhaps. And so the next thing we're going to do is flowers for Pam.
$100.
Hey, I buy flowers for my wife, and it's like $80 today.
Yes, today. Mm-hmm. I know. I know. Believe me, it's a shock now. It was a shock then. $100. So, like, he really is. I was so impressed with that because he's going to pay the same amount towards a new fridge. I'm sorry, a down payment on a fridge as he's going to pay for flowers that are going to die in 3 days.
But this is what we all do, though. You buy those flowers. You know they're going to be dead in 3 days, maybe 4, if you are able to put that food in there properly, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a challenge, but you can do it.
Yeah. But it's just the effect that they have. You're not buying them because you like flowers. You're buying them for that effect. Right.
But are you okay? But are you spending, say, $300 on flowers for your wife?
Oh my God, no! Oh my God,
because that's
a lot.
That's about I mean, look, I remember flowers back then. I remember rent back then. Okay, because my rent back then it was $725.
Wait! $725?
$725 for the 2-bedroom apartment, my first apartment.
Jesus Christ, that's expensive, man.
We didn't think so. It was probably.
What did you know? This was in Deerfield?
Yeah.
Deerfield Beach, Florida, by the way, for those of you not familiar.
Yep. Deerfield Beach, Florida, which, oh my gosh, you know what? That's funny that because I was forgetting about this. You'll probably remember this. The first race, the order of the horses is 472.
Okay.
Right? Because, we got the big photo and then it comes up, bring, 472. Okay. That is the address of my first apartment.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And so believe me, you want to think that, there's some kismet going on or something.
Absolutely.
It was like, wow. I used to bet 472 almost, just like as a throwaway very often. Like, let me do a $1 trifecta or something like that. Like, I'd spend $1 at least every time I went somewhere on 472 because of Let It Ride, because it was my apartment.
Oh, my God. I don't even know what to do with that information. But
yeah, isn't that funny?
I have a feeling you're not alone. I have a feeling there's other people out there who may have done that. Although I would say you definitely had more of a reason with the apartment number. Yeah.
Right. No, right. I don't know if I would have done it if not for that fact. It was like, oh, my gosh, wow, that's, and I can't say that, again, I threw $1 at it, so I can't say that. Every now and then I would hit something, put it that way. But it may not have evened out, put it that way.
That's really kind of funny. All right.
It is. I would have spent back then, $20-ish for a nice dozen roses.
Okay, now wait. Are these delivered?
No, I don't. No. No, I'm buying them. They're delivered by me.
Okay, all right. See, now I can go to Publix, to the local supermarket, for those of you who do not have a Publix. I can still spend $20 and get myself a good bouquet of flowers and present them. But if you're going to buy flowers and have them delivered, that's when we're looking at something significantly higher.
Right, like in the box.
Yeah, like in the box. You want it to what you want to do is to send them to the job, right?
Right.
That's the move.
That's the move. That is the move. Everybody, she gets her moment in the spotlight.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that cost me $85 is what it is.
Right. Right. Unless she's a sanitation worker
Yeah, then maybe that's not the best place to do
on
it.
the back of the truck or something, and somebody's running after them.
Well,
hey,
this
flowers.
This is like an Ed Norton joke that you're doing right now.
Right. Down in the sewer.
Okay, so next on the list is dinner for him and Pam.
Right. Also $100.
Well, we're going somewhere swanky. We are leaving the mainland. We're going to go to Miami
That's a
Beach
good one.
and spend out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one of all of them, I recommend. If you recall, way back, I don't know when now, 10, 12 years ago, when you and I and the wives went to the casino and we all hit big, which never happened. That was the first thing I said. It's like, no, we gotta have a nice dinner now.
Oh, that's
we gotta
true.
blow out a dinner so that we'll never forget it.
That
Right?
is so true. So stupid, but so absolutely accurate.
It's like,
oh my God.
you gotta put your stamp on the win. So that's, to me, the $100 is like, yep. Even if you can't, even if you're gonna short the rent a little bit, let's make sure that since it's such a momentous occasion, that we go out to where are they going? Olive Garden?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I would like to think there's better places around.
No.
that you
How
could
about
go.
I just watched White Men Can't Jump.
Okay.
And
oh my God, I already know.
If you're okay, yeah. So Kadeem is so excited that Wesley has won the bet against Woody, the initial bet, or hoping for it, and he can't wait because if they win, they're going to Sizzler.
Sizzler. That's right.
Sizzler, right? And
Sizzler.
it's like he's got a Sizzler dance,
I'm going to guess
so-
that Jay knows a better place. Now, the downside is it could be the Jockey Club or something similar, right? He could say, you know what? There's a really great place in Miami High Lie. Let me take you there. They have fantastic steaks. It's a steak dinner, baby. It's a steak dinner.
I know, which would really, that would defeat the purpose in front of Pam.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's hope he's not planning that.
All right, and last on the list is parking tickets, which he laughs.
It's a joke.
That. Yeah.
Right. This is the first scene, I have to say, at that moment where I start to see that Pytka is doing so many interesting close-ups on all of the principals. And it's like every time he does, there's a mini payoff every single time. And so it's just like another layer that I noticed, especially with Dreyfus. Like in this scene in particular, like he's counting out each time, and then there's a tight close-up on Jay and his, like you say, he's naming all these things, but there's also these facial expressions he's giving. And really in this scene, he's kind of adorable, really is what it is. It's like he's so giddy and happy, and he's just wearing it on his face so well. And it's like, man, as I watched the movie, I realized that I don't know if this is a note by Pytka or if it's just, in the acting, but he's capturing it so often.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of the scenes, right? One thing, if you read a lot of the reviews for Let It Ride, in particular the negative ones, they really like to bag on Pytka, and they love to just trash the fact that he's a commercial director. Like that's he's great at selling fizzy drinks, but when it comes to a feature, right? I've read that at least twice, right?
Absolutely. Yep. And it's such an easy go-to.
Oh, absolutely. It is absolutely an easy mark for this film. But if you look at the scenes and you kind of look at them structured in a commercial type way, in that you have fast cuts and it's very quick pace and it's kind of breezy and it's kind of fun, like this one, like this scene in particular, right? Or at least this half of the scene that we're talking about. It kind of feels that way. It kind of feels like it plays into what Pytka does very well.
Yep.
like that commercial training, whatever. I couldn't even tell you the list of commercials that he's done, but there is sort of a quick-paced, quick cuts, nice like the tight facial close-ups you're talking about, that all kind of lends itself to what you might find in a commercial. And I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in an absolute positive way, because that's why a lot of these scenes you can just sort of watch and just enjoy as a scene.
You're dead on as far as I'm concerned. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like each one of these, they convey the message as strong as possible. And obviously that's what you need to do in a 30-second spot. It's so weird that you would, go negative on something like this. So what are you telling me? He's really good at conveying his message in every single scene? Is that, you got to spin that pretty hard for me to think that that's a negative. Especially with the result, like I said, each one of these scenes, like you get so much out of, because he is making sure, look, I want to convey this, I want to convey that, I want to get this part across, we want to move the story this direction. It might even be that at the time that the viewer is not as sophisticated, be conditioned towards something like this, because obviously commercials in the 80s really sped things up. Gosh, what was I watching? I was just watching something. Do you know what it was? Oh my gosh. It was Hardcastle and McCormick. So I have to remind you of this.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Because I finally found... Okay, look, this was not anywhere streaming forever. Mm-hmm. And so right now it's on Crackle, right?
Okay,
but anyway, so there's a scene where they're being tailed. Hardcastle and McCormick, they're being tailed by somebody they didn't expect. And so we see them pass by, and then the car's about to take off, and then the guy says something like, all right, boys, it's time to tail them. Something like that. Let's get this tail going. Something like that. And then they tail him. And I was like, this is the kind of thing, because I'm also watching a show called The Mayor of Kingstown right now. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, that's with Jeremy Renner?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've not seen it though.
Okay, but all right. So anyway, so that show, I'll just tell you, is like super sophisticated. It's created by Taylor Sheridan, Hell or High Water.
Oh yeah,
director. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Okay. So anyway, so watching the two of them, it's like, this is what I'm explaining to Renee actually, where it's like, this is how sophisticated we got as an audience. And it's not that just because I'm more mature, it's because television has matured over these 40 years. And 40 years ago, my 40-year-old dad, or 35 years or whatever, has to be informed in that moment. In case he's not caught up with what's going on right now, they got to do a little, exposition there, right? And so, it's almost embarrassing when you watch something like that, because it's like, oh my gosh, now you don't need any introduction to any of that stuff. And in fact, they don't even tell us half the time what they're thinking. Like we already know that. So let alone what they're going to do. So I'm thinking, like, when you think about Pytka back then and the people that are being critical, it's kind of similar. Like, he's moving things along at a different pace, and they're more used to the exposition right there. They're being told, this is what is going to happen next, or this is what we're working on. It might be in that transitional phase where they're going like, geez, with this commercial, this is too fast and silly. What are we doing? Like, I need to warm up to every scene. So it could be in that, because look, that's a fact, right? There's no shows that exist today that are being made today that are walking you through the scene like that, or that they have some character, that has to be like, all right, I'm here to get all the information, and it's an extraneous character that for some reason in the scene doesn't know what's going on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
like they have to introduce that character. Wait a minute. Now, exactly what is quantum physics?
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, right? So, what's really going on here?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we might be at a point where there's too many of those people who think they're smart, mm-hmm. that are being critical.
That very well could be. I don't know. All right, but Very nice explanation, and good to know that you're keeping the spirit of Hardcastle and McCormick alive. I
You got that right, baby.
did not know that was going to be coming up on the podcast. Did not expect it. All right, so now Trotter has got the big 710 and looks around and decides to head to the bathroom, and he heads into a stall. Right, and
Right.
we see these cuts of him standing in the stall, and now he's going to take his shoes off, which who would want to do that in a public bathroom, much less one at Hialeah Park, and we're going to stick the winnings into the shoes, which is an interesting move, to say the least, right?
Right.
Now, he pops out of the stall, he's doing a little dance, a little strut to the sink, and... So it's so ridiculous, right? Oh, I'm so sorry. There's something I want to mention, actually.
Okay.
Is that when he first walks into the bathroom, right?
I know exactly where you're going.
Oh, wait. Do you? All right.
Yes, I do.
The bathroom
Okay.
attendant, there's a bathroom attendant, says...
He says, nice to see you again.
Yes!
Yes,
It's like
I know.
long time no see. It's
Yep.
like, what? Okay. That's
And you know what-
interesting little moment there, right?
Very much so. I've analyzed this the same way you have, I think.
Where it's like, oh, okay. Now you're starting to see just how much Trotter's presence at the track is, right? How much of his life that he's living there. Because the bathroom attendant looks at him and is like, hey, how you doing? Oh, good to see you, right?
Right.
I don't have that anywhere in my life.
Okay, I'm going to go. Okay, so here's the thing. I've analyzed this even further. So we know, like you just said, he's going to go into that bathroom.
Yeah.
And he's going to put the money in his shoes.
Right. Yep.
And then he's going to go to the bar. And we know that's the next scene, but this is important because the bartender says, "You look taller."
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so you take that, okay? We know he is taller because he's standing on his money.
That's right. That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
And so when you combine that with the way he immediately goes to that bathroom, and we know that earlier in the film, he goes to the bathroom in the bar, which is the scariest bathroom you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Right? So now he's going into the big bathroom at the actual track.
Yep.
And the attendant hasn't seen him in a while.
Yes.
And so in my mind, what I see happening here is he goes here when he wins big. He goes here for the purpose of putting the money in his shoes because he doesn't want to spend the money. He's got a ritual.
So, that's interesting. So you don't think that this was Looney in the previous scene saying, hey, I wouldn't want to walk around here with $700. $710! And that getting into his head. You think this is a part of Trotter's MO.
I totally do.
Okay.
Now,
that's interesting.
I do feel like, right, the remark by the bartender, Marty, you could take it as, right, like a Pytka style thing where, like, somehow the character's in the know, which is ridiculous, right? Because obviously, if he's how much taller could he be? An eighth of an inch, standing on the money? I don't, whatever.
Right, exactly,
Like,
yes.
He couldn't possibly notice that he's taller. So it's either one of these things where he's got this great, ridiculous insight, or he knows, if you notice, everybody already knows that Jay hit the winner.
Yes.
And it's gone around the track like lightning. And so, because the next thing he does is tells the rat holing a 5 story.
Yes, he does.
Which lines up with putting the money in the shoes. Right? Like it's part of why does he rat hole a 5? Because he wants to make sure he has cab fare or something like that to get out of there.
Right.
He knows that he's a real, loser gambler, right? Like he'll win it and then he won't be happy till he blows it all. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking this is one of his ways that he protects his money. And so this is why the attendant doesn't see him that often. And so it's all part of like describing that situation.
Wow.
Long time. Yeah. And believe me, that didn't come to me the first time. It was after a few viewings where this all sort of comes together. Because I know that feeling, okay, not anywhere near what happens with Jay, right? But I know the feeling of like, all right, there's so much of this that I'm going to dedicate that goes home with me no matter what. Like I separate the money if you've got a big win. All right, I'm going to gamble with this, and this goes home. And so, obviously, when you take that and you multiply it exponentially, you got a guy that's got to go to the bathroom and stand on the shoes. I'm sorry, put the money in the shoes. And so, I mean, even, when we go even further, when he eventually is going to bet it, the ticket seller is, like, totally aware of this. Like, let's put the money back in the shoes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right?
Yes.
So, it seems more like it's more in the ritual fashion than playing off of Looney's remark.
That's really interesting because that's how I looked at it. I thought, oh, okay, he is worried about walking around with $700. $710! And I also thought of Long Time No See as Trotter's been away from the track because he's been going to, he's been not gambling.
That's true.
He's been trying to not gamble. So
look, you know what?
You've got a different take on it than I do.
I get what you're saying there now. Okay, a couple of things about that is that I don't. $710 it's nice money, but it's not like people are going to start lining up to knock you off. Right?
Yeah, get a knock on the head. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is almost like, like a conversation between two homeless people, the way they're talking about it. And, somebody's, found a $10 bill, like, oh, you better guard it with your life. Put it in perspective. I don't think anybody, they're out there, they're gambling thousands of dollars. So I think that's just like a silly, loony remark. That's just what I think before all that. But I do get what you're saying now that we know that with that deleted scene, he hasn't been to the track.
Right.
So it certainly could be that explanation. And it could be that the bartender, Marty is doing like the Pytka insight. But it's weird that I came up with the other conclusion because, I don't know, the thing that he does with the shoes is so weird. It doesn't seem like...
It's very strange.
It doesn't seem like
It's a weird solution. It's a weird solution. It really is. But it seems
doesn't.
When he's standing in the stall and you see him in the stall, it seems like he's trying to figure it out. Like, what do I do?
Okay, I got you. I could see that. I think he's just trying to decide, with my theory, that he's just trying to decide if he's going to do it or not. But then he crumbles it up, which I hate. Why does he do that? Like I would put it in there straight. I don't get, obviously you're going to, think about standing on all that crumpled money.
I know. It's really not very good.
It's gotta be
you got to flatten it out and stand on it that way. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'd be worried about like being crumbled up that a chunk of it might fly out of my shoe.
Yeah. It's not really well done how he's sticking.
He's wearing
money.
penny loafers. Yeah, it's like those things aren't secure.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So I don't know. It's funny that we have this different perspective, but I will say this: I've always felt like it was a ritual, and so that's why I think these other parts added to that.
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
When it comes to the idea of Trotter giving up gambling. Now, it's hard for me now to separate that deleted scene, that beginning scene that we are constantly referring to.
Sure.
But when you watched this movie, I was always under the impression that he had just given up gambling the night before.
Yes, right.
Yes. So now when I watch this movie, though, and I see that the attendant says, long time no see, I'm thinking of that deleted scene where I know he hasn't been for a month.
Right.
So thinking about it that way, what you're saying definitely makes a little more sense because we're looking at him as somebody who has been, at least recently, maybe not the day before, but recently, recent enough where everyone knows he gave up gambling and that he's just now getting back with his wife because it seems like he's made this declaration just a day earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, he doesn't, when he goes to this bathroom, he doesn't go to the bathroom.
No.
He just goes in there to do this. Now, whether or not, like, it could be, like you said, that he's deciding what he's going to do, but he doesn't go in there, obviously, with the intention of going to the bathroom. And we know that he's been to the bathroom. Keeping track of his bathroom trips. He's already had one today.
That's true.
So it definitely puts it in a gray area. Like, it could be one of these two routes. But, then what's upcoming is washcloth guy doesn't seem to know him, and Jay does his magic thing.
Yes, his instant math.
Right. So when you take that into account, you'd think that he'd run into that guy. That guy, it looks even older. Like, that guy's obviously been around. So you'd think he would know Jay. But Jay does his thing like he's never considered that before.
Oh, that's true. It seems like he's talking, and even though the attendant, long time no see, this guy, it almost seems like this is the first time Jay has decided to interact with this guy.
Right.
Right? And it's because he's got a lot of money, and he's willing to, he looks at, he's at the sink, looks at it, and does his instant math, says it's, realizes, oh, that's not a lot. And then the guy verbally says it back. Yeah, it's not a lot of money. By the way, another one of these guys who's got one quick scene who's ultra memorable. I don't know who did the casting on this.
Yep.
Oh, actually, I do. Wallace Nisita, I think, is the woman's name. Anyway, excellent job, because all of these little parts are filled out with the most memorable people, right?
Yes, and what a face on that guy.
What a face on this guy. And he very kind of meekly says, it's not a lot of money. And then Trotter pulls that dollar out of the shoe and, makes it seem like it's something really significant, the way he holds it up like, aha, I'm now going to change your day with the presentation of this dollar. Which we get this dollar pays 4 minutes tuition joke from this bathroom attendant, and I want to know if we believe that this guy has children in college.
No. Oh my gosh. First of all, he's like 66 years old.
Yeah.
And so, no, I believe the whole thing is the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he doesn't look like he's anywhere. This guy is probably not even married.
Exactly right. Exactly right. This looks like a childless bachelor who goes home alone every night and watches The Tonight Show, and that's how he falls asleep. That's who this guy looks like to me.
Yes, and he saves that joke for just the right moments. And I'll tell you, I think I have told you, this joke has lived on, so many have, but this is one, I probably say this at least once or twice a year in the right moments. The same way.
It's a solid joke, and this guy delivers it very well.
Yes.
And Trotter's retort. What's Trotter's retort, Eric? I know you know it.
Buy yourself a new joke.
Very funny too.
I mean, it is
Very funny too.
It's really well prepared.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those moments where it's almost like you can't. And Jay's a little bit like this, where you can't get the best of him in a verbal exchange. He won't allow it. I can't think of a moment in the movie where he's the one that's stumped or stymied. He's got that look on his face. He almost always has the response. That's not easy in life. But obviously in this moment, you can walk around with that answer.
Yes. All right. And now the last thing that happens in this scene, after buy yourself a new joke, which is the best. It's the best line in this scene that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
When he leaves the bathroom, some random punk, and I say punk because this guy looks like he's a punk rocker or something.
Okay. Yeah.
As he's exiting, he says, "Walking tall." As he walks by,
yes,
right.
Right.
And he's strutting out, and he's like, "Thank you." As he. Like this guy, this person who we don't know, who was standing at the entrance to the bathroom when Jay walks in, now sees him walking out and can tell, oh, yeah, he's walking tall. And
yes,
obviously he's taller with the money in the feet, so it's just friggin' hilarious.
It is, and it's, we don't have, I mean, this is really the only Pytka movie that we will count, but it's so indicative of the style of Pytka and this film. We get this a lot. And at this point, it comes at you so fast where, like, all you could do is laugh. But then you have to think, like, yeah, like you just said, all that guy couldn't possibly know. All of a sudden, it's like everybody's like somehow their brains are connected in some weird way.
Yes, everyone is tuned in to what's going on, specifically with Jay. Like, there's no way anyone would actually notice this, but for this movie, everyone's gonna notice that this guy is now a quarter of an inch taller than he was before.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so bananas, right? It's beautiful, like the way it consistently keeps occurring.
Yes,
you know, they don't.
Yeah, it's the movie's inner logic that is just happening throughout the entire film.
Yeah, it's so fun.
The only other thing I would say that I neglected to say is that after he collects the tickets, or he collects his winnings, and as he's heading to the bathroom, we do get to hear the Fugue for Tin Horn song again.
Oh, yes.
And I did not remember.
I know, I thought of that.
It played more than once in the
it's
movie.
His yep. It's like it's his theme.
It is.
For victory.
Yes, yes. Which, by the way, in Guys and Dolls, that song plays once. So hence now this song feels more like it belongs to Let It Ride, which it always has.
Good point. So we hijacked it.
Yeah, exactly right. I feel like we've hijacked it. And in fact, I remember that when Stubby K passed away, and I saw it on the news, not knowing who Stubby K was, but it made the news, and they played this scene, right, from Guys and Dolls, him singing this song. And I thought, oh my God, that's the Let It Ride song. This is where that comes from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I have to believe that I felt the same way, that I thought that it was a song for this movie.
Sure.
Yeah, because I don't think I had seen that yet. So yeah, and it fits so well.
It really does. It fits like the mood of this film. Really, perfectly. I don't know. It just kind of goes. It just kind of.
Yeah,
goes.
I mean, you can hear this. This is like if it were a musical. This would be in the back seat of the cab. This is what would be happening. Instead of them talking the way they did, it would be this. I got the horse right here. All right, pal. If you say so. His name is Paul Revere. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like this movie, it owns this song now.
Yes. All right, so I'm glad that we've already established that it's okay for Guys and Dolls, for all of you Guys and Dolls fans out there, because there's a lot of other songs that are in that musical. They won't miss this one. That's what I'm saying.
Right. That's right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Jockey Club. This episode was hosted and produced by me, Dan Delgado. And a big thank you to my guest, Eric Delgado, who does not appear on this show because of nepotism. It just seems that way. Our theme music is from Epidemic Sound. Our cover art is by Sean Labrie. If you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, then you can help out the show by buying me a coffee. This is actually a real thing. There's a link in the show notes on how to do it. You basically just click it, and then you would hit the donate button, a couple of dollars. It all helps out the program. Now, if you are instead saving up your money so you can bet on that long shot and you cannot spare a coffee, hey, I completely understand that. You can still support the show by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or wherever you may be listening to this. Maybe it's through Podchaser. Maybe it's some other app I don't even know about. But wherever it is, if there's a review feature and you can do it, I would appreciate it. You can contact me through email. It's dan@moviemaker.com. Just feel free to say hello, that you like the show, that you hate the show, whatever it is. I'm also on Twitter. It's @_Dan_Delgado. Or even better, you can find me on the Repod app, which is a great way to not only listen to your podcast, but interact with podcast hosts like me. Find it in your app store. Come on by and say hello. That's it. This has been Dan Delgado for the Jockey Club. And remember, sometimes you could be walking around lucky and not know it.